Fenris, can you say something about Soulside Journey for us?
What I remember was we did a live recording in '89. We sent that around to some companies. Peaceville signed us on this live recording, and then we signed the deal somewhat late '89, '90. All there was for us to do was make new songs and rehearse for a new album. And we asked for help because we didn't have a big budget to deal with. So we thought, okay, I've been in contact with the Nihilist / Entomb guys since '87, and we decided to go over there to Stockholm and record the album there, the Soulside Journey album. Was probably like September '90. Was a small studio. We had all our technical death horror metal well on our way. Our songs were just through and through rehearsed well enough. This was our first time in a recording studio, first time making a fucking album, so we thought maybe we'd need some help with the guitar sound or something. Uffe from Entomb helped us there. Don't really remember much from the recording session though. We were just hanging around Stockholm, basically being in the studio every fucking day. I guess we did the drums at first. I remember I had some rototoms that the now famous guy from Sunlight tried to mic from like on top, which would give the sound of. I'm like, sorry, try to mic those roto on the backside, and then suddenly I have the do stuff we needed. Nocturnal Culto can fill you in later on some of the guitar strategy, whatever, but we had the material really clearly done and rehearsed before we went to the studio. We just had to record it in like, what, 5-6 days. I guess the Sunlight studio that we entered was some sort of Scandinavian version of, you know, the Morris sound down in Florida. Later we thought that this was not the best choice we could have done, but for me, Soulside Journey is still a bona fide, solid fucking death metal album. When it comes to Darkthrone, we were always on about the riffs, and the riffs were always important for us. And the whole ordeal of like knitting the songs together to make like a verse, refrain, whatever, was never really important for us. We just had what we thought and what I feel was killer riffs, and we just riff upon riff upon riff, sort of a riff-o-rama. That was an expression used a lot in speed and thrash metal years before 1990 September, we recorded Soulside Journey.
Remember being very young, the first album, you know?
Oh yeah!
Very exciting, indeed.
Absolutely. For me personally, I never had any ambition besides that of getting a fucking record deal. So when Peaceville offered us the deal in late '89, early '90, it was a fucking dream come true. I mean, let's face the facts. We were really into Chris Ryford stuff and Autopsy, and that was like the label we wanted to be on. and we were so dedicated to death metal at the time. Although we saw death metal around us, it's just more or less wearing shorts and being politically correct and all that shit. We really didn't feel comfortable about that. Soulside fucking Journey, what do you remember?
I remember being young. I remember we were in Stockholm recording Soulside Journey. I was under a big influence of the first Death album at the time, which I mean the solos on the Scream Bloody Gore album was one of the inspiration sources for me to do the solos on Soulside Journey, which is probably the most structured solos we ever had. And listening to a lot of death metal, I mean, like I said, the first Death album was a really great inspiration for me to in the Soulside Journey area. It's like Slayer as well. Had a great influence on me as a person on Soulside Journey at the time. Remember being in Stockholm. It was probably the only goal Darkthrone ever had, was to record an album. After we did the first album, we didn't have any goals like musicians, you know, we didn't strive for anything. But to finally get to release a full-length album, to get it on vinyl, to get it on CD was really big for me. Also, remember rehearsing a lot. It was in a time when we developed our musician skills on guitars, drums, etc. And I guess we were only about 18, 19 years old when we did that album. It was a cool time, probably. Don't remember much since I was not in charge by any means with Darkthrone, as I mean Fenris was in charge of Darkthrone since the beginning and throughout all the Peaceful albums. Was like but we were all close companions. And so all the things around Soulside Journey with the release, I didn't have anything to do with. I mean, Ferris did that very well. Also, the cover on the Soulside Journey was actually a painting done exclusively for that album. I also saw the artwork and the painting when I was visiting Peaceful in '92. It's really good. It's a fucking huge painting. Really great. You know, hanging around in Stockholm, as you said. I think I could have got something more out of it if I wanted to, but I think I was just fucking far out at that time in many ways. You know.
Already then?
Yeah, already then I didn't feel comfortable. Well, it's like
Who the fuck feels comfortable in extreme metal?
no, it's like but it was interesting times, I remember. And Soulside Journey came out pretty well, sound-wise as well. We did drag in some of the Entomb members to make sure we didn't sound like them. Very, very important because Entombed had done a great album in Sunlight Studio, and we didn't want to sound like them. And actually, I remember Uffe did some pre-production of the guitar sound. It sounded really good.
Here's where I go like, yeah.
Yeah. It was very good, and he helped us because we didn't have any experience. We just rehearsed with our old equipment, which we thought was very good.
Uffe and Sunlight Studios helped us sound like every other death metal band at the time. Oh, it's a good project though.
Yeah, it's a good product, and yeah, I mean also the solos at the time, you know, was very inspired by Death's first album, which was fucking brilliant and still is one of my favorite albums. And one of the best remarks I actually did get to that solo was from Uffe from Entombed. He said that, you know, I get a Scream Bloody Gore feeling. Oh yeah. I mean, it's because I never thought of myself as a solo guitarist. You know, I'm more like Malcolm Young than Angus Young.
Ooh! I never knew that about the solo mentioning from you.
No, it's but yeah, I think so. That's from my view of the whole thing. I mean, we also, I mean, Dag Nielsen did also a lot of work on Soulside Journey riffs and stuff like that. I can't really remember what influence he did have on the production. I think we all were very involved at the time. We all had something to say about everything, and luckily we didn't ending up hating each other so early.
No, not after that album.
No. So yeah, I mean, Soulside Journey is a very it was a good experience, and since we were all into death metal at the time, and of course being so young when we started I joined Darkthrone in, I will say, April '88.
Yeah.
I mean, we wanted to develop as musicians and develop our skills. So I mean, most of the time went to practice, you know, practice all the time. So yeah, that pretty much concludes my vision around Soulside Journey. It was our first album.
Where it all began to blaze in the northern sky.
Then we came to the planning and the beginning of A Blaze in the Northern Sky.
Well, what I can say was the Goat Lord album that I was talking about was supposed to be recorded like a year after Soulside Journey. That means like summer '91. But as I told you, we had this whole Goat Lord album done, but we just said, no, we're not playing that anymore. We're going for the primitive, like, stuff, you know, that we still like. And but that was like in March or something in '91. So we just had like 3-4 months to do what we really wanted to do. So we recorded A Blaze in the Northern Sky instead in summer 91. Still though, a couple of death metal riffs came into that fucking album. Because we had so little time to do an entire album. People still believe that A Blaze in the Northern Sky is a bona fide black metal album. That all the riffs there are black metal. But, I mean, at least 6 riffs, 7 riffs, 8 riffs, I don't know. Really fucking death metal, but we played it in a black metal style, and I tried to crush the riffs as hard as I could on the drums to make them sound un-death metal-ish, and that's what resulted in The Blaze in the Northern Sky. Well then, we lost a band member from rehearsing and finishing Goat Lord till the recording of A Blaze in the Northern Sky, and that was Doug Nilsson, because he was really into the technical death metal we played at the time of Soulside Journey and Goat Lord. But then we tried to reason and say, like, no, we don't want to do this 14 part / 16 beats stuff anymore. We're going more for the juggler and playing primitive stuff inspired by whatever, Hellhammer, Old Bathory. So springtime 91, we didn't feel much for anyone. We just bashed out some fucking primitive shit, playing the instruments, not hitting the instruments, yes. Going for pretty much total misanthropic black metal, which was really not what Peaceful signed us for, but whatever. Well, we did that fucking A Blaze in the Northern Sky album. We pulled the bassist in to do because he'd been with us. He'd been with us playing bass for the more primitive songs as well. So, well, he could do the, what do you call it, the session bass for that album. He wanted to do it on this flashy motherfucking rack he had. We just put him up with some sort of fucking whatever small PV stash with fuzz on it. We got to play that. Pretty intense. We just used the local studio, the studio that Mayhem used for the Death Crush album. Same studio, pretty cool technician we had, and we just bashed it out. That became the more or less brutal, total black metal shit that became A Blaze in the Northern Sky. After that, well, we had to send the fucking tape to Peaceful, and Peaceful gave me a call and said, "What the fuck is this?" And I said, "This is fucking black metal, man." And they were like, "We signed you up as a fucking death metal band. What the fuck are you doing here?" And we got tired of that shit. Look around you. Look what death metal has become. It's like nothing. It's like people in colored clothing talking about political PC stuff, you know? For me, death metal, and for us, death metal was always about something extreme, and now it's like, hey, voting or whatever. So, Basil said, "We have to remix this motherfucker." And I was going like, "Why do you have to remix it?" And they said like, "Well, this doesn't sound like anything. Like, this sound is too weak." And I'm going like back like, "This is what black metal should sound like." And I said, "If you don't like it, we'll take it down to Euronymous' fucking label, Death Like Silence Productions." Then Peaceful said, "Well, it definitely won't look good for us if a new signed band is gonna leave our label. So okay, we'll release this thing. So they released A Blaze in the Northern Sky as we wanted it to be, and I think no one really regrets that.
We also have to remember that the period we're talking about was it was very early in the black metal history, so you know,
Early in the second wave.
yeah, in the second wave definitely, but it's no surprise that it came as a shock to people, and especially labels which heard this for the first time. Strange, you know.
Yeah, I guess. But with Peaceful, luckily we had a pretty fucking great distribution, so the album just had like a black and white cover, which was like hideous at the time. I mean, everyone wanted like colory painted, you know, wimp stuff on the album covers, or some gore stuff or whatever. We went for a slightly grimmer approach, to say the least. And I guess in hindsight you could say that people noticed that. But nowadays a lot of people say that, oh, that's a fucking classic album, but then, I don't know, I think it was ambivalence surrounding that album, A Blaze in the Northern Sky. Anyway, we had no time to look back. When we recorded the Blaze in the Northern Sky album and that was done, settled, it's going to be released on Peaceville, okay, we just moved straight on to Under Funeral Moon. And this time, we had all the time we needed. 1 fucking year to do only black metal.
But at the time, you know, black metal became more. I mean, that was the music we more and more listened to, and I mean, remember old Slayer stuff like we heard before. I was totally into Slayer before even joining Darkthrone. So I mean, the more dark side of the music, the more dark side of metal became more and more important in our lives, really. So it was natural to just jump off all the Bermuda shorts, filthy death metal bag, and start playing what really meant something to us. So A Blaze in the Northern Sky start growing. We first thought of it like a mini album, but we've never been into singles, mini albums, maxi singles, whatever the fuck is.
Yeah, no way.
Full-length albums, all the things that matters. So we decided then to go ahead, skip Goatlord, do a full-length album named A Blaze in the Northern Sky. I mean, again, I remember our old bassist, Dag, did some riffs to A Blaze in the Northern Sky. He didn't like our new approach to the metal here. We told him to leave. He could play session bass, of course, because he had something to do with A Blaze in the Northern Sky, obviously. So we thought that he should be a part of it as a session bassist. So yeah, the recordings went on in the Creative Sound. What's the name of the studio? Really good studio. I remember Mayhem recorded the Death Crush there, as you said.
They were drunker than us,
Yeah.
as I have heard later on.
Yeah, I mean, but you were quite drunk as well, Fenris, as I remember.
Not when we record, though.
Oh, no. Also, one of the Mortem demos was recorded in Creative.
That's right.
Yes. And that Morten demo was fucking brilliant. I liked it very much.
It's not bad, man.
No. So we did go ahead. Dag Nilsson was quite, you know.
He'd been kicked out already.
Yeah, he'd been kicked out already, so he was laying very low in the terrain. But we did go on with the recordings, and I also remember the rehearsals to A Blaze in Northern Sky was very good experience.
Yeah.
Again, I felt at that time that we were being very alone. I did know about Mayhem and Mortem, but you know, the metal scene in Norway was very small, very limited.
This was like the summer of '91. I think Morten was changed the name to Arcturus and did some other stuff then. We felt pretty much alone, I think, and after recording the album, it was just, well, if someone likes it, okay. If someone don't like it, fuck off.
Yeah, like that. And we had
nothing really happened after that recording, did it? I mean, we didn't go on tour or interviews or anything.
No.
What happened? We're going on to Under Full Moon here.
Yeah, I mean, during the recordings of A Blaze, we had an engineer, very to the book guy, you know. He didn't want to turn the knobs too much, but he did a brilliant job, and I think the balance in the sound was right where we wanted it to be. Nothing happened, you know. Dag Nilsson, gone for good. We're starting the rehearsals to Under Full Moon.
When we recorded the Blaze Northern Sky album, that was done, settled, it's going to be released on Peaceville. Okay, we just moved straight on to Under Full Moon. And this time, we had all the time we needed. 1 fucking year to do only black metal.
Did you feel any pressure at the time that we should release something really good black metal album?
There was no pressure from Peaceville after A Blaze Northern Sky album that we should release another black metal album. Maybe they thought, whoa, this is gonna fuck up, maybe they go back to playing death metal. But this was our fucking opportunity to do something that we always wanted to do, like a total bona fide 110% black metal album. We just worked and worked. End of '91 onwards throughout '92, we worked and worked on a fucking hostile album called Under Full Moon, and we recorded that in the summer of '92. And that is 100% black metal. Nothing more, nothing less.
Did you feel that A Blaze in the Northern Sky and Under Full Moon was some kind connected with the old black metal wave, the first black metal wave?
My thoughts and visions around when we started to do primitive black metal was Darkthrone was not about an own style at all. I just wanted to pay homage to, as I've told you a million times before, old Bathory, old Celtic Frost slash, you know, Hellhammer, and lots more from the 80s. Because the black metal style of the 80s were really one style. It was just a mambo jumbo of whole different styles. Some like early fucking Merciful Fate was deemed like that was black metal, or you'd have Venom was black metal, or do you have like whatever Bulldozer, or you just first Vader stuff we were influenced by.
Definitely.
Yeah. But in Darkthrone, I think one of the things that I never one of the things I never said before about Darkthrone is that when we've been doing black metal for a long time now, we're doing the strings open most of the times, and always, instead of metal, powered, speed, thrash, death,
Mosh.
or maybe even grindcore has some stuff in it. Darkthrone, all the strings open all the time. That's what we're into. I think that's one of the things that's unique about us, but apart from that, goddamn. Anyway, the sound that we wanted and the sound that we pulled on Blazing Northern Sky or in the Funeral Moon. And the Funeral Moon was even colder. I mean, we used probably like a couple of pounds to do the entire recording, and then we used another pound to just make the sound more harsh and cold and grim. We didn't want no warmth in our sound.
And we didn't get that.
We didn't get it either. At the time too, we never read any reviews of our albums or anything. We really had no contact.
Fuck reviews, really. No.
At that time, there was we just did black metal and
Still doing.
still going strong there. But there was other things happening around the Under Fuel and Moon album. I mean, Nocturnal Culto started moving around. Nocturnal Culto and Sapphirus, already after Blazing Northern Sky, just stayed away from the Norwegian, the tiny Norwegian scene. Even the tiny Norwegian scene was like too much of a boys' club for them. I was still in it. I was always in the fucking scene, but these guys, I mean, Nocturnal Culto and Sapphirus just moved the hell away from that stuff, and
yeah,
we had some cold years. I'd say from 91, 92 till even 96 or something like that. We had like read no reviews, didn't really get any fanzines or magazines sent. We didn't know what people thought about our music. We just went on making horrendous albums.
Yeah,
horrendous in our sense that horrendous is.
Yeah, that's our senses. We did rehearse, you know, you, Fenris, me, and Zephyrus rehearsed to the Under Fuel Moon, and that was rehearsals that some more people should really participate in, you know, just as watchers, because
Cold era.
For me, that is still the definition of black metal. We didn't care really much for the albums at the time, really. I mean, we all agreed that the rehearsals we did was the most important things, and the rehearsals we actually rehearsed a lot, and then it was the first time we had I could sing on the rehearsals. We did get some vocals equipment to deal with, which lifted the whole experience of rehearsing up to new heights. It's a fucking brilliant time. All I can remember is really sort of the best black metal magic ever.
I have a vague feeling about that too, although I can't. I remember nothing from the times.
We did smoke too much, probably. The thing is, for me, I think the rehearsals and the recording of Under Full Moon is still lies in the bottom of what we're doing today.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I mean that's really formed the constellation that we have today, really. So it was an important album for us. People probably mean different things about that album, I don't know. We didn't really pay much attention to reviews and stuff like that. I remember visiting Peaceville twice, you know, once.
In '93?
Yeah, I think it was in '92 and '93. I was there 2 years in a row doing some promotional stuff in London. People in London didn't really understand what I was talking about. So they just, what the fuck is this? You know, what is this guy? Does he play black metal? Where does he come from? Another planet? You know, very misunderstood the whole thing.
Still is today.
Still is today. Probably.
Was today.
Yeah, I mean it's. But still, I did it. The last Peaceville album that we did was Transylvanian Hunger. Any thoughts? Any remembrance?
Well, that was the 4th album we did for Peaceville, and the last one, and number 1 had been a death metal album, number 2 and 3 had been a black metal album, so we would go on to make another black metal album as number 4, Transylvanian Hunger. Really, since we did A Place in the Northern Sky, we'd been somewhat not in contact with the rest of the, what do you say, underground. There wasn't really a black metal underground in 91, 92, 93. It started peaking at 93, things started happening, but when we did Transylvanian Hunger in 94, we still had no clue what was going on in the rest of the black metal world. On Transylvanian Hunger, we did a lot of finger moving riffs that we sort of adopted again. We've done it before, but this time totally Bathory stuff. We thought Bathory was still not selling, we needed more Bathory stuff, and this is the coldest things we were going to come up with. Transylvania Hunger, cold, dead fucking cold. We went from larger studios this time to a 4-track Necro Hell studio. Ended up being like just one fucking track on the drums. Drums were never fucking important for Darkthrone, for me at least. And in black metal, I think drumming is not important. Drumming is just supposed to be there, just be there. And guitar riffs are the most important things to make the vibe, not some fucking third, fourth guitar solo or guitar upon that or synthesizer or whatever. If it's cold enough and if it's dark enough and if it's real enough, black metal feeling is supposed to soothe through material. So we did Transylvanian Hunger, so fucking cold. And it turned out that the two guitarists on there with the finger moving riffs all the time was the sound was fucking perfect. When people review or think of that album today, some said it's minimal. Other people say it's minimal. And most people say it's minimalistic. That's what it was. I think it's not before the 5th song on that fucking album. The fucking beat just... something like this. Another album that some people say is pure black metal, some people say it's pure black metal, and the critics say it's pure black metal. I don't know.
It's a very riff-based album.
I always say all the stuff of Darkthrone is riff-based. Always riffs, riffs, riffs. People continuously ask, what's your favorite Darkthrone AB? I never have a fucking favorite album. I have favorite part, 2 riffs that fit together, some fucking vocal lines that's fucking extremely great for me. Although I don't sit around listening to Darkthrone all the time. That would be like a sucker's theme, you know?
Do you remember when we were sending the master tapes to Peaceville, did we get any reactions from them to that album? Or didn't we get any reactions at all?
No. As I said early on, the reactions we got from Peaceville connected to sound was from Soulside Journey. That was technical death metal, horror death metal, dark death metal, towards the Blazing Northern Sky album that was more or less black metal-ish and had a completely different production to it. That's when we got the reactions. I remember no reactions from Under Fuel Moon, Transylvania Hunger, no reaction whatsoever. They never reacted that we went from a really expensive studio where we tried to make the coldest, grimmest shit to a 4-track studio where we tried to make the best possible sound for Darkthrone and for black metal. Because some people might say there's a huge difference in sound between Under Fuel Moon and Transylvania Hunger. I think not. I think we were basically aiming with Under Fuel Moon to become what Transylvania Hunger was. So from there to here, and from Transylvania Hunger starting on scratch for a 4 fucking track studio, trying to aim here. We met.